Hello and welcome everyone to this week's episode of the podcast. This week I'm joined by the wonderful Anna Sweet from This Story Jewellery. You may know of Anna. She has been on the podcast before and she's been worked very closely with the Jewellers Academy team, and she has an incredible jewellery business where she makes and sells her own jewellery, and she works predominantly in wax as well as a mixture of other things. And her jewellery is all about telling a story, hence the name This Story Jewellery. And you can check out her previous podcast to kind of hear a bit more about her journey. She is also the Jeweler of the Week this week for our Handmade Jewellers series. So if you have not checked it out, please do come and watch the episode with Anna in. It is a wonderful episode. I get to go to her house and visit her home studio. She teaches me some really cool wax kind of carving, modeling skills, which I've not done before. And we also have a look at some of the creative community around Margate near where she lives. So it's a really cool episode that will be airing live on YouTube this week. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But today, Anna is here to give us a little bit of an update and to talk a bit about her journey that she's been on with her jewelry business, because I'll let Anna share more about it. But last year, she kind of had a moment where she was thinking, I think we've all been there, like, that's it, I can't do this anymore, I'm done, it's all too much pressure. And some things changed, which we'll talk through. And now her business is stronger than it has ever been. She's doing amazingly well. So it's always great to hear the story behind that. So welcome, Anna. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jess. Thank you for having me.
Yes, wonderful. So, do you want to tell us a bit about, because obviously I gave an intro to your story, but tell us a bit about the journey of your business. So, you had a business for a number of years, and then how you reached this point, which I think lots of us reach. I think all of us reach at some point where we're like, actually, I'm done. And we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so I had been running my business. So I'm in my sixth year of business now of running This Story Jewellery. Um, so last year I was in my fifth year, and I just at the beginning of the year I I guess I started with sort of no direction, didn't really know where I wanted to take my business. Sort of every year I'd sort of had a clear vision, but last year I just sort of started the year and was like, I just don't know what I want to do. And I guess with that, I sort of lost a bit of my creativity. And probably for around 6 months, I had just felt so demotivated, just really lacked inspiration, and yeah, just sort of felt a bit lost with it all. And I guess like previous years to that, I'd felt really good. I knew what I was doing. Um, so yeah, I just had this real sort of like flip. And I guess as well, there's so much pressure at the beginning of the year to really know what you're going to do, to really set out goals. And I think honestly, I probably just put too much pressure on myself.
Yeah.
Um, so I kind of, yeah, just felt really deflated with it. And I had an opportunity to open a shop in my local community, which I was really excited about, but also was very much like, this is it, this is make or break. If I do this shop, then I'll push forward with my business. But if it doesn't work out, then I think it's time to just quit. And it didn't work out, which for many reasons was the best thing to happen. Because I don't know what I was thinking opening a shop when I just had like no motivation for my business at all.
You're like,
Um,
I'm not sure what to do. Let's just open a shop.
yeah,
But
let's
we
just take
do
a
that,
massive
don't we?
risk.
You just try stuff because you're just, yeah, I guess you're sort of thinking, what can bring motivation in? How can I? And I think it makes sense after 5 years, you probably just needed some time, it's like we put so much pressure on ourselves. But yeah, so the shop didn't work out, which in hindsight is a blessing. So did that kind of add to the demotivation of just like, gosh, I can't even, this isn't even working, or what kind of
Yeah.
happened then?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes I am too, I can be very much like, that's the universe giving me a sign. It's told me that I haven't been feeling it, and the universe is just showing me that, I shouldn't be doing it. Um, so I was very much like, okay, well, that's that. And I guess it got to sort of around August time, and I'd made this like I was so dramatic, like I dramatically text my best friends and was like, I'm done. I'm leaving the story. I just announcing it out loud so that I actually just go ahead with it and just put my tools down and stop. Um, and all my friends were like very, they were very shocked because I guess they had known that I wasn't feeling it, but also didn't know that it was at that level. And
Mm.
um, so I sort of was like, okay, well, that's it now. I've told everyone, so I'm gonna stop. And then we had a really nice August. There was so much going on in Margate at the time. So I just thought, I'm just going to have a nice month. I'm just going to have fun, not put pressure on myself to do anything. Um, and just, yeah, just slowly transition because I knew that I didn't want to just completely close, that I had to have a bit of a plan in place of how I was going to close my shop and what I was going to do next, really. So I sort of took the month off. And then all these things started happening. Like all of a sudden, I started to feel really creative. And I sort of started to make things for myself rather than making things that I thought would sell.
Mm.
Um, and then I had an amazing opportunity come up. The girls, Daisy and Liv from Salad Days, I don't know if anyone follows them. They do amazing markets in London and they really are great for the small business community. And their markets are always really fun. Um, and they are, the past few years, have been asked to take some small brands into Selfridges for Christmas. And they had asked me, which was just like a dream come true. And just so funny because obviously it had come at a time where I had decided I was going to stop. But it kind of pumped air into me in a way and gave me like a whole lease of life. And just, I guess, more than anything, gave me a reason to continue. Um, because I think sometimes when you're doing it and you kind of lose sight of the future, it's hard to keep sort of moving forward with it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess having something so big to focus on just really helped.
Mm.
Um, and I guess from that, just everything changed. So um, I had months of planning for this market. I knew that I wanted it to be amazing. I'd made a ring sort of in March, which was funny because, I was saying that I wasn't feeling very creative, but I made this ring called the ribbon ring, which is a bow ring, which has just gone viral and has done so, so well, like beyond anything I ever anticipated for it. So I took that to Selfridges, and that was such a big sort of thing for me, taking it because so many people came along for it, which was like I was really shocked about. Um, and then from there, I just had an amazing Christmas, and it has just, yeah, my business is just a completely different business to what it was this time last year.
Mm. It's amazing how quickly it can change and how it sometimes just takes one thing. We were talking about this just before, weren't we? That, often we think like we need to get everything and you'd done a lot of prep work. Like it wasn't just that year that things changed because you'd done the 5 years before, you built up a community, you did have a successful business and you were going through this kind of slump. But even still, just, that moment, it sounds like there were two kind of key pivotal things, like the Selfridges opportunity, followed by the ribbon ring, which was like this kind of has become kind of an iconic piece for your brand that people are really excited about. And so yeah, I think that's quite inspiring for other jewelers is that it doesn't always have to be this huge thing that comes, but it's just, these pivotal moments that kind of turn turn things around. What do you kind of put it down to? What do you think helped that attract that into your life, I suppose?
Um, I don't know really. I think there was an element of taking pressure off of myself that just changed, I don't know, brain chemistry or something in me where I just from that, I think sometimes when you're so focused on something and I guess you're like in a bit of a negative mindset about things, it can kind of spiral. And I think like just from also having stuff like that happen in my personal life, like knowing that when you actually just you remove yourself from it and you step back for a second, it can become a lot clearer. And I think I was just like in the fog of it all in a way. And when I sort of said to myself, you're allowed a break, you can have a break. And when I actually was just like, I'm just going to enjoy life because at the moment my business isn't bringing me happiness and there's no point me continuing with it. um, I think it released something in a way, and I think it just completely changed the way I thought about it. And I think going back to making things for myself, that's how I started my business. Like my business was very much like, I want this ring. I have this idea. I can't find it. I'm going to make it. And, all of my jewelry prior to, I guess, well, all of my jewelry has always come from a place in my life or something that's happened or come from an idea. Um, and so I sort of, I guess I like lost that in a way. So when I then sat down and was like, oh, I'm just going to make, so for example, like I'm a massive romantic. I absolutely love cherubs. And I was like, I'm going to make myself a cherub ring. And like it's, loads of people love it. But I didn't make it to sell it because I think you can easily get into that mindset of, oh God, is this going to sell? And sometimes you won't make something because you think that it won't sell or it's not on trend or so I think when I started to get back to that space where I was making things for myself again, I think that just put me in such a better space with it all.
Yeah, I love that idea of making things for yourself. And, I think I saw in one of your social media posts once that about the ribbon ring you were talking, you said, like, I made this for my inner child. And I
Yeah.
just love that idea that, like, the joy of the making kind of comes across in the pieces. And you're not worried about if one person wants it, if 20 people want it, if hundreds of people want it. It's like, but you want it. And I think that's where that love of the making and of the piece kind of comes across when you're selling your work and when you're presenting it and when you're talking about it. And that's what people have connected with. And you're right, that pressure to sort of make things work or succeed can often kind of get in the way of us even accessing that for ourselves, that kind of, whether you call it inner child or inner creative, whatever, that kind of part of our soul that has so much to say and is excited about things and has some joy for the world. And it sounds a bit like that month you took off really helped you to sort of reconnect with things as well, giving yourself permission. And at the time you didn't know it was just a month off, did you? Like, this is it, I'm done. The
Yeah.
friends have been it's
Yeah.
over.
I've announced it now. I've got to follow through. Otherwise I'm
How
gonna
did you, out of curiosity, how did the friends thing? You were like, actually I've changed my mind.
Well, it was funny because I think in the space of probably a week or two, it was like, right, I'm quitting, I'm done. And then it was like, oh my God, I just got this email from Salad Days and they've asked me to be in Selfridges. So it was very much like,
It turns out I'm not quitting and I'm not.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then I was very much like, well, I've got to do it. If this has come my way, then I have to do it. And then I was
It
like,
was
okay,
a sign from the universe.
yeah, exactly. It was that
Another
sign I
sign.
was looking for. And it's funny because, I was very much like, I have, like I was speaking to my therapist about this, and we were talking about how, sometimes you can run away with signs from the universe. But the funny thing was, I was very much like, well, you've told me not to get a shop, so I'm not going to get a shop and I'm not going to do anything now. But, then when it came to it, it was like, no, you're not ready to stop yet. Like you've still got to keep going. So
It
I
was more
guess
like a redirection than a dead end. It was just
that's it.
not the shop, but
Something
Selfridges is the shop.
exactly. And it ended up just being a lot better because, I wasn't financially ready for the shop. I wasn't even mentally ready for the shop. It just kind of came into like, I just, yeah, it ended up being this thing that I didn't think would happen. And then it didn't happen. So,
It
yeah,
sounds like you stopped forcing things and kind of opened up and relaxed and then like you said, the creativity started and perhaps you recharged as well. So you're ready to kind of go again when something came up. Because I think Yeah, running your own business for 5 years is no small thing. And
Mhm.
especially when you're, every day getting up, going on social media, sharing, creating things, dealing with customers. Like we love these businesses, but it's natural for us to need to take breaks and to have these kind of times out, I think, to be able to recharge so that we can go again. And
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, whatever direction that sort of looks like as well. And you
Yeah,
talked a bit about the pressure to, set goals at the beginning of the year. And I think, you're right in terms of, if they're not helping, if it's perhaps you don't know at the beginning of the year what you want to achieve, and perhaps the goal sometimes is just to let go of things and to make and to play and to have fun. And I definitely notice with a lot of jewelers that I speak to that it's when they're most relaxed and when the pressure is off that the best work comes, and then it kind of
yeah.
flows from there. But tell us a bit about the ribbon ring because it's very cool. How did that go viral? What was your experience? Did you just like post it and then it was like, or yeah, tell us about the journey of the ribbon ring.
Yeah, so I made the ribbon ring, I think it was around last March, and it was very inspired by Victorian jewelry. So I have like this amazing Victorian jewelry book that just has loads of charms and things. And I saw so many bow motifs that in all different forms. And I was sort of like trying to find some inspiration and was looking at that, and I got a bit of ribbon and just tied it around my finger. Was just playing with it with the idea, and from that I was just like, oh, this would be a really cute ring. Like everyone loves bows. It instantly makes your finger look really pretty.
Mhm.
um, so I made it, and again, very much for myself. It was very much like it was just I was just experimenting, really. Um, and I popped it up on stories, just like, oh, I've been, playing with this. And I had loads of DMs from people saying that they loved it. So then I was like, okay, well, I might make a few and then just see what happens. And I'd made sort of like I think my first drop I made about 10 and people bought them, and then I did another drop and they sold out, and then I sort of just sat on it for a little while, um, and didn't really push it any further. I guess I was experimenting with how I wanted to make it, because every single time I was making it, it was coming up completely different. So I was sort of
Mm.
trying to experiment with different like bow ends and how I wanted the band to be. And then I guess at the time, I think this was also contributing to feeling a bit of lack of motivation, was I just felt like I had hit a bit of a brick wall with Instagram.
Mm.
Just didn't really know what I should do to go forward with it. And I guess as well, I was just losing a bit of love for it. And I just thought to myself, rather than sort of getting annoyed at the algorithm and getting annoyed at Instagram, I'm going to go and try TikTok, because everyone's talking about TikTok. So I'm going to go and see what that's about. So I started doing TikTok, and again, without any pressure, I just posted whatever I wanted. Um, and it was very much just, I'm just going to experiment. And it's from TikTok that the ribbon ring went viral. I have no idea how things go viral. They just decide what, I don't know, with
Yeah,
something goes
TikTok
viral.
decided this is
Yeah,
the one.
it decided
Yeah,
that, yeah.
awesome. So
Um,
did you do like a post, like a kind of reel type thing on TikTok, and then it just loads of people kept seeing it and
Yeah, it was so funny because I think it was just a carousel. It was just a carousel of photos. It wasn't even a video. And it was just like a carousel of a few ribbon rings. And then it just went viral. And then from that, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing that then. I'm going to keep doing videos. Um, so then by the time Selfridges came, I was having a bit of traction on it from social media. And most of my sales when I did those couple of drops, they came from TikTok. Um, and then yeah, so I guess by the time Selfridges came, I knew that people really loved them because I was getting messages. And funnily enough, like the bow trend just absolutely took off. And I think I'd made this ring just before like people like the bow trends took off. And it was one of the reasons that I was asked to go into Selfridges, because I know that like bows were very on trend for the season.
Mm.
So I just, yeah, it just came just at the right time, this ring. And yeah, then it sort of went viral. So then I knew that it was going to do well in Selfridges. So I was able to take some. And I think the way that I've done the ribbon ring's very different to anything else that I do, because everything else I do, I usually will make it from wax, have a mold made, and then I can create multiple ones. And so I'll have pieces that will always be on my website. But what does really well with the ribbon ring is I make them all individually so that no two are the same. So obviously that's a lot of work for me, because when I'm
Mm.
making them, I'm having to make a lot. But I think that's what makes them so special. Is that, no one will ever have the same ribbon ring. So when I do a launch, it's always absolutely wild, because they take me months to do. So by the time I come, I'm ready for a launch, so many people are waiting for them because it's taken me so long. So they always do so well, which is, yeah,
Mm.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really has. The ribbon ring in itself has really changed everything about my business.
Mm.
And it's funny because, like you just said, sometimes it just takes that one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes we think, what's my one thing? What's my one thing? What is it? And I think that energy of trying to find it is almost what stops us from finding it. Is the irony of
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting in your story how, once you let go, once you totally let go of any kind of pressure or even thoughts of future of anything, it kind of, well, it sounds like you made it before then, but it kind of started to something that you'd been working on actually picked up. And yeah, sometimes we've been talking about this a little bit recently on podcasts and things like that, is sometimes we do work and it's not the right time for the work. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of, it might get a little bit of interest and we sort of feel a bit disappointed. Like, I can relate to this with online courses. When we first put our online courses out, people were like, who would learn jewelry making online? That is crazy. It was like 2008 or something, and people like still had VCRs, and it was just, and no one was interested at all. And it wasn't until nearly like 7 years later that those exact same courses were what like did really well. And so sometimes we feel like we've put so much work into something and we love it and but we're not getting the results. And so I think what's really nice is, as you kind of let go and things started to pick up, is you are getting the results. And it's so nice to be in the situation where your demand is so high that people are waiting for it. And yeah, I think that having that energy in your business is great. And naturally there'll be, dips and troughs with all of us. And
Mm.
so it's interesting to hear kind of how you've navigated those things. So without putting any pressure on you, what's next? Or is it we just go in with the flow? We just see what the universe brings.
Yeah, I started this year and was just like, right, I'm just going to do whatever feels right. So whatever opportunities come my way, I'm going to that feel right, I'm going to take them. I think very much just trusting my intuition this year. I'm taking a break in 2 weeks for a month, which I'm really excited about, because I haven't stopped since sort of September. Since I decided to quit, I haven't stopped working. So
Yeah.
again, going back to that, right, it's time for a break. I'm going to take a break, because then inspiration will flow. And yeah, I guess just at the moment, whilst things are going so well, I really want to continue making the ribbon rings. But I also have like ideas for other collections and things that I want to sort of work on this year. So I think very much going with the flow this year and just not putting pressure on myself,
Mm.
or my business.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. And like we have not that much control over how things go anyway. Like, when you're talking about, I don't know what makes things go viral, all we can really do is show up as ourselves, create what we're creating, and just keep going. And I guess not give up, or like, you did, and I've definitely done, give up and then ungive up. Um, come
Make
back, it's fine. Reverse the give up. It's okay to
Yeah.
give up for a while, then come back. Like everything's allowed. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and it's been amazing to kind of see that that journey. And I guess from outside, you don't always see the ups and downs as extreme, but you can
No.
definitely see like things picking up and, you know, people's energy and stuff like that. So I think, you know, well done for sticking with it. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what's next. But I think
Thank you.
it's been an interesting journey so far.
It has. It
Yeah.
has. It's been a funny year, really. Just, yeah, I think it goes to show how much can change in a year.
Mm.
Because, yeah, so much has changed.
Yeah, and I guess for anyone who's feeling kind of stuck or down or unsure whether to go forwards and those kind of things, just really normalizing that space. We all go
Yeah.
there. And, you know, it's not wrong to give up and do something else that you really want to do. That's a great thing as well. But like you said, you know, it doesn't always take long to turn things around. And it's not necessarily down to us, but all we can do is kind of show up as ourselves and do the things we love doing and you know let the rest unfold in its
Yeah.
own sweet time.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
true. That's so true.
Yeah. Well, Anna, thank you so much for coming and sharing about your journey with us today. It's very inspiring to kind of witness. And like I said, for anyone listening, if you want to hear more about Anna and her journey, especially the bit before this, because we filmed the series a while ago,
Yeah.
and see inside her home jewelry workshop and learn a bit about wax as well, definitely go and check out the episode. It's going to be a really fun one. And yeah, thanks again, Anna. And if people want to come and connect with you, where is the best place for them to find you?
Probably on Instagram or TikTok. Yeah. So this story jewelry on both accounts.
Brilliant. Yes, go and give Anna a follow if you're not already and go and say hi. Let her know that you listened to the episode. And we will see you guys on the series of the Handmade Jewellers out this week. And Anna, I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Well done. Bye for now.
Thanks so much, Jess. Thanks.